5 car mods that actually ruin the car and the driving experience. Adding coilovers makes the ride so stiff and uncomfortable.
Yeah, so that's false. Coilovers don't inherently make your car more stiff or less comfortable to drive. They're just a suspension conversion. They could even be more comfortable than your OEM suspension. If your only experience with coilovers is that they made every ride so uncomfortable and stiff, you've either picked out really bad coilovers every single time, or you went with way too stiff of a setup, which I don't know why you would do that for a street car. Or you've changed your ride height by so much that you actually threw off your suspension geometry and caused your suspension to not behave as intended. So let me give you tips for picking out street coilovers. First off, like I was just saying, don't change your ride height by too much. Second, choose your spring rates wisely. First, find out what the stock spring rates are on your car, and then choose your new spring rates based off of how much you want the car to handle better versus how much you want it to be comfortable. It would be an entire video for me to tell you how to pick out your spring rates, but just know that the stiffer you go, usually the better it's going to handle, and the softer you go, the more comfortable it's going to be. If you only go like 20% stiffer, you're not going to notice a change in ride quality. And if you want to stay on the safe side of things, keep the same front to rear spring ratio as your stock car, unless you know what you're doing. Now, lastly, pick a good brand, because brands have to do a lot of research to find out what the dampening rate should be relative to the springs, weight of the car, weight distribution, and all that. And brands that aren't really good, or brands that don't know your car very well, won't pick out good damping rates, and your car is not going to handle well or feel very comfortable. So that would be the shock design. You have to have a company that has a good shock design for your specific car. And this is probably just going to come from you researching on forums for your car to find out what brands are best. Because if the damping is set up well for the spring rate and your car's weight, you're really not going to notice much of a difference in ride quality unless you go up to a very high spring and damping rate. Now, real quick, I saw in the comments of this video, people were saying that they have adjustable coilovers so that they can make their ride a lot softer or stiffer if they want to. Just so you guys know, that like a knob on the majority of your coilovers out there, all that it does is adjust rebound damping. That's like only one direction of damping, does not affect your spring rates, does not affect your bump or compression damping. So adjusting that knob should not be the answer to your comfort problem, because you're just adjusting one part of the system, and if you adjust it too far, you're going to throw off the system, which means your car is going to handle bad. Now, I watched the rest of his video where he talked about 4 more things. Changing out your head unit is very subjective. I don't know how you can just claim that that's just a thing that's going to make your car worse. But cheap wheels, yeah, that's bad. Changing your steering wheel to one without an airbag, yeah, that's also very bad. And putting a banner across the top of your windshield is also pretty dumb in my opinion. I think that really ruins cars.